Of the hallelujah expanding us and expanding our capacity for pleasure, expanding our capacity for joy, for pleasure, just opening ourselves up with the hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Hello, KZOOMers.
Hey, everybody.
Such a pleasure to see your faces.
From all around the world.
So, this very special KZOOM is really from the week of kind of doing an inquiry into pleasure as a doorway. Pleasure as a doorway. And in the Song of Songs, pleasure becomes a really kind of important way that God speaks to us. And it's almost as if there is this possibility of pleasure that is always there and always kind of pouring into the world, but we're not always there to receive that pleasure. And so part of the spiritual challenge is really showing up for it, and then developing a kind of a relationship to pleasure that is not one of grasping or pulling towards us, but one of kind of receiving and channeling and offering up, and allowing that whatever that simple pleasure is, to lead us to the most profound pleasure of love, of being itself, of the pleasure of existence, and that's not an easy. It's not easy to traverse, because we also deal with a kind of pattern of not only trying to get pleasure, but also pushing away pain. So it's like I can see sometimes my life is just trying to get more comfortable.
Yeah, really.
And if only I could tweak it a little bit, I would be a little more comfortable.
Okay, I'm going to get to my chiropractor, then I'm going to feel
only
better.
the right pillows.
Right. Very important.
But really, the sense of breaking down pleasure into its simplest component, and the pleasure of this breath, the pleasure of this color, this step, this movement, this melody, and entering in through that pleasure into this kind of a sense of the unitive consciousness, the wholeness of life through that pleasure. And so that's what I want to practice. And this first practice that is sending me to that, says how beautiful and how sweet is love in all its pleasures. So the root pleasure is love, and when we are in that place of love, then our eyes or our senses or our being is opens up to pleasure, and so in doing my homework, I today went down to Dark Canyon, which is the place where I composed this chant, and I sat in the river in Dark Canyon, and I sang this, and just sort of looked at the ways that my own kind of like boredom or greed or reaching out can keep me from just sinking into pleasure, and looking at how do I open the capacity for pleasure. And I realized that it really depends so much on the quality of my presence. Like that presence is a kind of a prerequisite to pleasure, and it also necessitates a kind of a slowing down, because the part of me that's always reaching out for what's next is kind of my revved up place, and I need to be able to slow down to receive the simple pleasure of being, and that simple pleasure of being becomes then the foundation of my life, and so I want to just begin with a kind of just reveling in the simple pleasures. And when I was teaching this class at the Kala, I told everybody, listen, like we shared what our simplest pleasures were, and we wrote a little list. This is my simple pleasure, and I remember I wrote down in my simple pleasure, oh, the first sip of tea in the morning. That's my pleasure. The first sip of tea, and then Sarah, you were there. Pesach was there, and then. So I said, okay, your homework assignment is really pay attention to your simple pleasure. And the next morning, I got my tea, and it was only at the third sip that I remembered to enjoy.
To wake up.
And I thought, where was I for the first 2 sips of that tea? And that place where I often go, a place of distraction. And then when I could be present, I could receive that the simple pleasure of the tea, and if not the first sip, then the third one.
Not
right?
bad.
Not bad. So let's just bring to mind, revel in what is your simple pleasure, and we can just exult in it. Mah-yafit, umanat, ahavah, batanugim, 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 Mah-yafit, umanat, ahavah, batanugim,
Mah-yafit,
Mah-yafit,
umanahat, ahavah, batanugim. Mah-yafit, umanahat, ahavah, batanugim. Mah-yafit, umanahat, ahavah, batanugim. Mah-yafit, umanahat, ahavah, batanugim. So there is a teaching, I think, from the Baal Shem Tov that says when we taste life, we are receiving the sparks of the divine and raising them up through our appreciation, and returning those sparks to their source. And so it's kind of like our job, to receive the divine presence, through this world, and through those simplest pleasures, and with the intention of not just grabbing hold of them, but returning them to their source, and in a way we get to kind of ride on that return to source. We get to go there and receive not just the pleasure, but the divine spark that's in the pleasure, really. So a lot of this practice of pleasure depends on the quality of our presence. And I was thinking about this story that I wrote in this book. That's a good one.
So it was, a story about one time when I was leading a day-long retreat, and it was at Juliet Spitzer's house in Philadelphia, and on her lawn, and we went out during the retreat to do a hitbodedut practice, which is a practice of each of us being by ourselves, praying, and tuning in to the deepest yearnings of our heart, and kind of like a vision quest kind of thing, where we would just like stay in this one little spot and notice everything as like a sign, as a message, really. So
during that experience.
So we all found our spot at the edge of the yard and sat there to pray and become receptive. And about 45 minutes into my practice, a car pulled up near where I was sitting, and a man addressed me. He yelled from the car, "Do you live here?" I pulled myself out of my reverie and I tried to respond, but I couldn't find the words. I was just dumbstruck with the profundity of his question. He repeated it a couple of times. "Do you live here? Do you live here?" And when I didn't respond, he just drove away in a huff. And I sat there with that question, and it expanded within me as a challenge. How might I fully inhabit this incarnation, this family, this tribe? How might I fully inhabit this glorious and sometimes troublesome body that I have been so generously given? How might I take responsibility for the care of my body, my family, my community, and this amazing planet? Do I live here? Later, of course, I realized that the man in the car was lost and was just looking for someone to give him directions. But for me, he was this divine messenger who had come to challenge me and invite me into a deeper level of acceptance and integration of presence, really. And so I just remember that moment of holding that question, do you live here? And, and the truth is, well, maybe sometimes I do.
Sometimes not.
Sometimes not. So there's a moment in Torah that where Moses asks God, to see, can I see your face? Can I know you? And these words are in the answer that God gives. And it's a practice called the place. And it's just 3 words. Hinay, which is right here. Makom, which means place, and et, with me. So right here, there is a place with me. It has to do with this very present moment, this inhabiting of the life that you've been given. And because when you inhabit that place, God says, I'm waiting for you there. I've been waiting for you to show up. You've been kind of out to lunch, but I've been waiting here for you, right here in this place, and where you can kind of receive the fullness of being alive and the fullness of my presence, God says. So I wanted to use this practice as a kind of a pathway to presence, a call, some messenger who's saying, do you live here? Do you live here? So, and we can allow the chant to take us on that long journey to here. Hinay Makom iti,
Hinay Makom iti, Hinay Makom iti, Hinay Makom iti, Hinay Makom iti, Hinay Makom iti, Hinay Makom iti, Hinay Makom iti, Hinay Makom iti, Hinay Makom iti, Hinay Makom iti, Hinay Makom iti, Hinay Makom iti, Hinay Makom iti, Hinay Makom iti, Hinay Makom iti, Hinay Makom iti, Hinay Makom Hinay Makom iti. 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 Hinay Makom iti.
As we come into presence, by the purpose of knowing that larger presence of which we're a part, I'm going to offer this just 3 words that might describe the qualities of presence, of our own kind of inner power, noble, awesome, shiny. So if we sit inside those words, noble, awesome, shiny. So showing up in our fullness, ready to do the work of returning the sparks of the divine to their source. Just through our enjoyment. Just take a moment just to breathe into those qualities: noble, awesome, shiny. So this, you want to just open your eyes and look at the noble, awesome, shiny presence of these people that we are
KZOOMing with.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wonderful.
So for a while I had this sign over my computer that said, "Are you enjoying every moment?" And and I would just look at it like, oh yeah, am I? Like, how do I do that? How do I do that? How do I enjoy every moment? And so, but it was just kind of like a sign to remind me to wake up, really. And then I had this really funny experience of going to, I was going to have surgery. I was in the pre-op of surgery, and they'd put the IV in me already, and they were gonna and prepared me for surgery. They're gonna be wheeled into surgery any minute, and Rachmel was there with me, and I heard a voice, and it said, "Are you enjoying this moment?"
And you laughed.
And I just started laughing. It was like, spirit. My spirit guides had such a sense of humor.
Yeah.
So it just made me laugh, and then I went under. The last thing I remember, "Are you enjoying this moment?" And so, what I realize is there's these lots of different kinds of moments, and I want to think about that pain and there's pain and there's pleasure, and then there's something larger than the larger pleasure, the larger goodness that holds that duality. And because sometimes I might like this moment and sometimes I might not like this moment, but can I kind of have a sense of enjoying the whole ride of it, no matter what it is? That's like a challenge.
That's a rigorous spiritual
practice. It's a challenge. But that's kind of I think where we're being sent, and so this next practice that says taste and see is taste and see, kitov Havayah. Taste and see that there is this larger goodness that holds us. Taste and see, and in order to taste, it's like we have to take. There's some risk in that, but taste and see that the larger picture of life is essentially one of goodness, and inside that larger goodness, we have all kinds of scary adventures in the midst of it. But can we taste that larger goodness? And I think the taste is like the taste of the oneness, taste of the essence of it all, and that the essence of it all is this goodness. So the Yud-Hey Vav-Hey, I'm pronouncing it as Havayah, which is the aspect of God that is being itself. It is the ground of being. So tamu uru, taste and see. So leave your little comfort zone and go out and taste this world, all of the experiences of it. And I was actually reminded of this teaching from a book called The Way of Grace, from Miranda McPherson. She says, "It is natural to prefer things to go your way, yet joy is not of the personality, nor is it circumstance dependent. Way more than just keeping a positive attitude, deeper than a wave of happiness, joy is the radiant tone of your deep heart itself." Joy is the radiant tone of your deep heart itself.
since it is emerging from your pure being, which is timeless, changeless, and unshakable in nature, it is possible to be joyful even when tremendous suffering is to be borne. The ticket price is feeling the full spectrum of your experience, tasting it all, the beauties and the horrors, and giving it all welcome in your heart. So not pushing anything away, tasting it all. And it often just helps me to sort of take a soul perspective and say, oh yeah, I came here in order to taste all of it, the beauties and the horrors, all of it. You know, that's part of my curriculum. So let's see if we can receive this kind of like as a mitzvah, as a commandment, as something that connects us. I think so. And it's around.
Oh, of course. Whoops.
You like rounds.
Gotta pay attention, yeah.
Right.
Gotta hold the part.
I have to say, Raquel,
Oh, my darling.
it's one of the greatest pleasures is chanting with you.
Oh, that's wonderful. Oh,
Really?
thank you, my darling. Yeah, me too.
So let's taste and see and know. Ta'amuru kitov havayah. Ta'amuru kitov havayah. Ta'amuru, ta'amuru, ta'amuru kitov havayah. Ta'amuru kitov havayah. Ta'amuru kitov havayah. Ta'amuru, ta'amuru, ta'amuru kitov havayah. Ta'amuru kitov havayah. Ta'amuru kitov havayah. Ta'amuru, ta'amuru, ta'amuru kitov havayah. Ta'amuru, ta'amuru kitov havayah. Ta'amuru kitov havayah. Ta'amuru kitov havayah. Ta'amuru
ta'amuru kitov havayah. Ta'amuru kitov havayah. And in the story of creation, God creates, and then the completion of that creation, or the lifting of it, is when God says it was good. So the goodness that is imbued in creation, that is sort of the essence of it all, is that divine goodness of being itself, within which, we take the journey of duality. So I want to taste that, and remember that taste. And let us say,
Yum.
Yum. Oh, so
Yum indeed.
yum. So it helps when I'm chanting, like that I actually can try to smile as I'm chanting, and the smile kind of changes like the chemicals in my brain. The smile kind of opens something up, and I'm smiling in that Thich Nhat Hanh kind of smile way of smiling towards the inside. And I find that it kind of powers up the chant in some way when I can do that. So you can try that. So I want to do one more practice with you, and really to address the challenge of pleasure, which is attachment. Attachment is kind of the challenge here, because we don't want to stay in the doorway. We want to move through. We want to let pleasure take us to some, like the deeper truth, the wider reality. And if we're holding on to it and saying mine, I was thinking of that in the movie Nemo, was it Finding Nemo?
With the seagulls.
Finding Nemo with the seagulls.
and they
Mine,
all
mine,
they're
mine.
saying mine, mine, mine,
Mine,
mine,
mine,
mine, mine.
One of those each.
You see that movie? Mine, mine.
Mine, mine,
And
mine.
so there's a tendency with pleasure to say mine, mine.
Mhm.
And so this practice is actually the contradiction to mine.
The
And
pain
it's-
is not mine. Nope.
Well, this one is it's just called yours, yours. And so, and it's a kind of a way of receiving life, everything that happens to us in life, as a kind of like that you receive it and offer it up. So here it is. Here is this moment, and I say, and it's yours, and it sort of to open up a channel of generosity, of non-attachment, of moving life through us in a graceful kind of way. And this line from Psalm 74, it says, yours, L'cha yom, af l'cha laila. Yours is the day, yours is the night. And it's also saying that pain and pleasure, they're, that part of life. And I keep receiving and giving it and offering it up. And allowing myself to be touched and sent and opened by both, by every experience, and then saying, and it's all part of your divine choreography, really.
Mhm.
And so, so when I chant this chant, I use a kind of a bowing movement, to the left and to the right. And every time I say yours, it's kind of like I'm bowing, I'm surrendering my own attachment to a particular state. I'm just saying, okay, this too, and it's all part of the divine reality. So I find this a very powerful practice of letting go, of raising the sparks that I receive. So if you feel like moving with it, you can do that. And there's a part that Rachmiel will continue with the Hebrew, and then I'm going to sing this English part that kind of just magnifies the Hebrew. And just begin by just feeling, the life force inside you that you don't have to hold on to. We can just, with each breath, you give it over, and with each breath it comes back. L'chaim aflecha laila, 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 yours is the day, yours is the time, yours is the way. I am yours and you are mine. Wherever I look, it is you that I find. Yours is the day, yours is the night, yours is the time,
So as we surrender, we are opened to a different kind of a fullness that enters into that emptiness, an emptiness that is full. So I want to bless us all with attentiveness to the simple pleasures of being that we don't want to miss, a moment of, no matter where we are, what it is, to show up for that. And so we're not going to be KZOOMing for a couple weeks.
Yes, very sad.
And I'm going to miss you all. But I wanted to share something with you in the chat that I was going to ask Pesach to put in. He did a podcast called Revolutionary Optimism. I am a revolutionary optimist.
Mm-hmm.
And so he interviewed Matthew Wright and I. He's a priest and a Sufi who we're doing a lot of work together. We're going to be teaching a retreat next week. And if you want to